We welcome you to a new blog on economics. In this video, we will be discussing in detail US stock market, its performance, and what needs to be done to modernize US stock market. Let's get started. Here comes our channel's name. Do not forget to email us. Please note our email address. In this video, we will be discussing stock market. I'm originally from India. Therefore, I understand cultures from both sides. I want my American spectators to pay close attention to this particular video. India also had stock market, but as Indian ancient epics, literatures, cultures, everything discourages people from getting into a gambling-like situation. Therefore, for the most part, Indian public aren't interested in investing in stock market. 1 to 2% of the total population of India actually invested in stock market. The scenario is completely different in America. In this country, above 80% of people actually invested in stock market. Therefore, I request our American spectators to pay attention to this particular video. I am Manisha, and you've been listening to your and our favorite channel, Modern World with Manisha. In this video, we will be discussing what is stock market. Then the next question, is stock market necessary? Think you opened a new company today. That's not going to be trading overnight on stock exchange. Therefore, this question, is stock market necessary? We will be addressing that question in this video. Stay tuned. Other than that, we will also be discussing in this video stock market's performance. If you are investing in US stock market from 2000 through 2010, you'll be able to realize that stock market performed poorly. Starting from 2000 through 2010, stock market continuously declining, and that made a lot of American billionaire penniless. And this is the situation we will be discussing in this video. Another very important and necessary topic that we will be discussing in this video is what needs to be done to modernize US stock exchange such that the investor's investment is protected. If one investor wants to stay in the stock market with a hold tactic while the market is declining at this present moment, US stock exchange does not have any strategy to protect that type of investor's investment. We will try to shed light on that what needs to be done to modernize stock exchange so that people don't lose everything while try to invest in US stock market. We are discussing thus far on stock market. At this present moment, we will be first addressing the question, what is stock market? Let's dig in. Stock exchange is a place in which large companies offered their shares and public can purchase those shares. Think one large company offered 10,000 shares and you bought 1,000 of those shares. Then you become 1/10 shareholder or owner of that company. Now, if you want to sell a stock at a higher price than the price you had bought it, you make profit. On the other hand, if you sell a stock at a lower price, you lose wealth. It is understandable at this point how you can make profit or lose wealth in stock market. The exchange or market in which this sort of buying and selling takes place is called stock market. Alright? Is stock exchange necessary? We will be addressing this question in this part of the video. We also request you to stay tuned till the very end of this video. Large companies do not receive any government grants, so they rely on stock exchange. They release their stocks to the stock market for public to buy. With this raised fund, they simply grow larger in size. They accumulate wealth and may invest in research and development. As we all know, a large number of people employed in private sector, in our judgment, stock exchange is necessary. If stock market is necessary, then the stock market should be brought under modern rules, and in that context, we'll also be discussing stock market's performance. Stay with us. Our beloved dear viewers, take a look at the graphical representation of the performance of US stock market. You can see the declining of US stock market. If you had invested at the start of 2000, in the year 2010, after a decade, your portfolio would have been one-fifth or one-sixth. Or in other words, if you started at the start of 2000 with $100, it would have been $20 or even less, $10 by the end of 2010. In USA, we personally know a lot of people whose 401k, that is retirement funds. In the United States, the retirement funds called 401k, especially if a person is a private company employee, their 401k worth $250,000 came under few $1,000, $1,000 or $2,000 left in the portfolio. So you can imagine what sort of a declining market we are talking about. Now you can understand what sort of a problem this can pose if neither the stock exchange nor the government have any strategy to protect public wealth in stock market. With this type of performance, the financial market, the American financial market, the integrity of American financial market came under question from pundits. Actually, the whole Western concept of free market, stock market came under question. The famous comment, the famous saying on stock market is that stock market historically goes up. Also, I want to criticize on that. Stock market will go up eventually, but that from new eras, new money. A person invested from 2000, if his or her portfolio goes below a threshold, I don't think this will go up again. I want every investor in the world to remember that if one person's portfolio falls below a threshold point, I don't think that will go up again. For your information, US stock market went down considerably in last few weeks. You remember we launched a video on US stock market in Bengali. Since then, US stock market went down considerably. It was close to 20,000 and now it is 16,000. Imagine how you would feel if you had considerable stake in Nasdaq. Yesterday it went down almost 500 points. That's what I was talking about when I say unless we do something about this stock market, it's really creating an environment that is very, very shaky. In this backdrop, stock market desperately needs modernization. At this point, the question is how are we going to be protecting net worth invested in stock market? Our first recommendation is 78% of your net worth will always be protected. The government and stock exchange together need to bring a regulation, a rule like that. At the most, a clause can be applicable that an individual investor cannot dissolve equity and withdraw money larger than 100,000 whose protected amount, say for instance 1 million, that's 78 to 80% we are talking about. That person cannot at a time dissolve equity larger than 100,000. We think that's a little price to pay. It's better than losing everything on stock market. And other than this, a federal insurance can also be applicable to protect net worth that is invested in stock market. We really think that this sort of rules is possible in modern times. Governments no longer keep equal amount of gold reserve and most of the transactions are electronic nowadays. Without this sort of responsible rules and regulations, stock market is creating a gambling-like atmosphere. That's not the main purpose of stock market. Stock market's main purpose is to boost up private sector. People will be interested and enticed to invest in stock market if governments bring this sort of responsible rules and regulation for American public. And the economy will be rolling for better. The question is whether to regulate or not to regulate stock market. You might want to say, oh no regulation. I have a question for this type of people. What does regulation do? It does restrict your ability to function properly. Don't you think if you lose everything in stock market, that's going to restrict your ability? Just think about it. Other countries that trade in stock markets do not have any regulations just like US stock market. Therefore, India and other countries that trade in stock markets should also be benefited from the strategies that we discussed in this video. For example, Mumbai Stock Exchange in India London Stock Exchange in UK, Paris Stock Exchange in France, Frankfurt Stock Exchange in Germany, Tokyo Stock Exchange in Japan. So far, we understand that Russia no longer a communist country. Russia has a stock exchange in Moscow. And China is a communist country, as I understand. But China has a stock exchange, even if it is a communist country. All these countries can get benefited from this video.